Hoi folks, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. And actually, if you are new, then I recommend you go and check out this video up here, because today we are using the supplies of June's Scrawler box. And yeah, I wasn't best pleased when I kind of undid everything, not to give too many spoilers. So if you haven't seen that, go and check that out first and then come back here. Okay, you're back. Right, so as I said, we're going to be using June's Scrawler box supplies today. Just before we get into that, obviously I had many opinions about the price raise for Scrawler box, as well as the supplies that we got last month. And I said, you know, I would really have to consider whether I was continuing with Scrawler box. I still haven't fully made up my mind. What I have decided is that basically I've accrued a certain amount of points on Scrawler box on the referral program, which means that my next 3 box will be a minimal cost for me. So I'm going to take those 3 boxes, so that will be July, August, September, and I'm basically going to judge from those 3 boxes to see whether the supplies that we're getting now with that price rise are worth me continuing, and if not, then you know I will be looking elsewhere. I may also be looking elsewhere anyway, but that's a whole nother thing. So I also have some additional thoughts about these supplies, but I feel like we need to actually see what we're doing for that. So let me turn the camera around and we can properly go through these supplies, and I'll share my thoughts before we get on with today's challenge. Right, so here we are. Let's just give this an open. So we have this lovely Frisk Bristol wallpaper, A5. We have our prompt, which is Electric Dreams. I've still not eaten the sweet, just out of frustration. I'll put that to the side and maybe I'll have it later, depending on how this turns out. Let's put our prompt over there. And then our supplies this month, aside from the paper, is this Pigment Micron 0.5 in purple. And these Pintor Pilot neon paint pens. And that's it. And as you'll see in the last one, we kind of went through prices and all sorts. And as you'll know, when I do the ScrawlrChallenge, I do the ScrawlrChallenge as it's intended to be, which is using the supplies in the box to go along with whatever the prompt is for that month. Unfortunately, I do have issue with these. So Electric Dreams, I had an idea in mind straight away, because I'm a massive kind of horror and sci-fi geek, and Electric Dreams, straight away in my brain went Bladerunner, because Bladerunner is based on a book by Philip K. Dick, which is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? So electric, sheep, dreams, it was all kind of there. So I was thinking of doing something Bladerunner-y. So my issue is this. For, I believe, a piece of artwork to be successful or to kind of have any depth, it needs to have depth of tone. So you'll see that these are the swatches that we did last time. We've got the reddy pink colours. They actually have names on them. Yeah, red, green, orange. Actually, orange. Yeah, orange and yellow. Is that apricot orange? Okay. So what I did is I actually took a photograph of this, which you'll see now. And then I took all of the colour out. I completely desaturated it. So what you'll see is that the orange peach actually is brighter than the paper itself in tonal value. The yellow is about the same as the paper. The red is a little bit darker, and the green a little bit darker than that. But it's all kind of very high tonally. It starts to creep towards mid-tones, and then there's nothing else. We have the purple Micron, and obviously under black and white conditions that comes out almost black. And yes, we can add some depth with that, but I don't want to be colouring in loads and loads and loads with a fine liner. And this paper, as we know, doesn't take the paint pens well. It's a fantastic paper. I really actually enjoyed Frisk paper, but for this application it doesn't work. It peels and it pulls up and all sorts. What would have been much nicer is to have a black paper or a toned paper, something that's darker than the actual supplies that we've got. So that's my bugbear with this. And also, because of kind of what these supplies are, and because of the fact that I have an issue with them, incredibly uninspired to actually even do this box. I was honestly debating whether to even give this an attempt. But that is part of the challenge. So I'm going to push through. I am going to attempt it. I think I've got something in mind. The only issue is, and I've said this before with other Scrawler boxes where we've had kind of paint supplies and stuff, and paper, got nothing to really sketch an idea out with. And I think for this one I really do need to sketch something out. So I am going to have to break the rules and use a pencil. And I use the mechanical pencil that came with the last Scrawler box. I don't think it's too much of a cheat because most of us are going to have a pencil in the house. So it's a stretch, but that's what I'm having to do this time. Anyway, I feel like I've talked a lot. I'm going to go into time lapse. I'm going to sketch out my idea, and I'll probably come back to you once the idea is fleshed out and sketched, and we'll get into using the supplies that we've got. See you then. Okay, so here we are, and I love this music. It kind of feels very Blade Runner. So I wanted to do kind of a little portrait of Rachel, who obviously is a main character in Blade Runner. I'm not going to spoil a 40-year-old movie. But because of the limited colours that we've got, I'm kind of going to go for more of a bold graphic poster style. So one thing I noticed when using this pen is that the paint markers don't cover it. They do a little bit, but you can still very clearly see through it. So I'm going to lay down some pen first, and then paint over the top, and then come back and kind of pick out any details that I want. So yeah, this is the piece that I'm going to be working on today, and I have to say it's currently, you know, quite late in the evening, but we are currently having a heat wave in the UK, and I am slightly melting doing this. I've got a little towel on the side just to keep kind of wiping my hands and my face because I am sweating so much. I'm literally melting in my office. So interestingly, working on this, as I was working, I just kept thinking to myself, the yellow and the orange, they are so close tonally. I know in the black and white picture that I took, the orange seemed brighter, but actually, as I was looking at it, they just looked very much the same to me. So kind of black and white context, monotone context, I think this will look very graphic, kind of hair, eyes, face, and the skin will be a very homogeneous tone. But in sense of colour, I think this will look slightly different. I am not a huge fan of the way these paint markers lay down, so I'm prepping them all before I use them. They don't flow incredibly well, and because of that, that's when we start to get some kind of pulling up of the paper. And when you do get the paint to pull well and kind of flow, then it oversaturates, and then it kind of, the paper all bubbles and pills underneath. So again, I think if this had been a different paper, and as I say, Frisk do some lovely papers, so they could have done a different paper for this, then probably would have had a much nicer result. I also tried blending as well, and going in with the yellow and the orange. Did not work. It just didn't, I mean, they just lay on top of each other, they don't actually mix. I tried going in wet as well, and yeah, it just not great. So as I say, I'm going for a fairly graphic style on this. The only bit of white I'm really going to leave is kind of the white of the eyes and anything outside on the page, but just a very simple character study. So whilst I'm doing this, should probably say that we are getting close to, well, we're nearly at 850 subscribers now. So that's obviously getting us close to the 1,000 subscriber giveaway that I'm doing. Very excited by that. So I'll be posting some images as we get closer of things that are going to be on there. Also recently bought myself a 3D printer as well, so I'm very excited to start kind of designing some things in 3D and starting to print them. Just whilst I remember as I see this, I actually really liked for the hair, as the paint was going down, because it's slightly streaky, it actually gave the illusion of hair texture. So for that, I mean, I have to give it some plus points somewhere. That I actually liked. But yeah, 3D printing, very exciting. I've also put a social post up as well, just yesterday, saying, basically just asking your advice. So I've been getting lots of comments since the channel started about providing tutorials and showing you guys how to do certain things. I've always said, you know, just kind of learn from what I do, but actually I am a teacher. It's kind of what I've done for a very long time, although different subjects, maths and music and science and religious education and all sorts, but mainly drama and music. But teaching is teaching, so tell me what you would like to see. What tutorials would you like me to deliver, and I will happily make some for you. Of course, caveat with any tutorial is that it is a way of doing things, not the way of doing things. But yeah, we've kind of got all the colours for the character down now, and I'm just going in with the fine liner and just picking out a few details, nothing major, just so that we've got a bit more of a graphic, maybe even slightly comic book style. I'm kind of thinking of those 1980s neon posters that you would get for book covers and movies. That's kind of what I had in mind with this. I really wanted to do either like some tube lighting with an electric sheep sign, or a cityscape and have something really grungy and gritty. But again, on white paper that just would not have worked, or it potentially could have worked, but it would have taken hours and hours and hours to do. I'm interested to see what these would look like on black paper. We might revisit these at some point, but being a Stabilo influencer, I have said that I will be doing some highlighter art, so maybe we'll save that for those, because actually there's a lot you can do with highlighters as opposed to these neon paint pens. But that's pretty much it for the details. I'm just putting a little bit on the clothing just to give it a little bit more kind of depth. And then I liked it, but I wanted to add a little bit more, and I wanted to add a little bit more of the red. So following that 1980s kind of neon poster design, I've just gone for a very simple circle in the background. And I think I used a roll, yeah, it was a roll of masking tape to get this circle. Hey, work with what you got. If you can't find your compass and you can't find a circle gauge, then just use a roll of tape. But yeah, and again, I'm just gonna kind of fill this all in block with this colour. You'll see as it goes down how some areas it's streaky, some areas it's oversaturated, and that's just what these pens are. So I'll leave my final verdict for the end, so you can get a proper kind of rundown of how I felt the whole thing went. But yeah, this piece is almost finished now, just this last little section to do. Okay, so there we are, all done. I'm very sweaty, as I said. We are in the middle of a heat wave. Oh dear. But yeah, let's get to the supplies. So I suppose the big question is, are the supplies as bad as I originally thought they were? I kind of have to say yes. I was really shocked actually after using products like Posca, which is just another paint marker, but a very good paint marker. I can draw in pencil, I can erase it back to almost nothing, go over it with the paint marker, and you can't see the pencil. In fact, sometimes you can go over pen without rubbing anything out and still completely go over it and not see what's underneath. With this one, I rubbed it back like I would with a watercolour, and you could really see the undersketch through these pens. Maybe that's why they didn't give us a pencil for this one. The paper, as I said before, it really peeled and pulled up. I'm not sure how well you'll see this here. But yeah, the paper really peeled and pulled up. It's good paper, just not for this, as I said before. I like the piece. I mean, I actually like the finished article. It's not the best thing in the world, and it can definitely do with improvement, but I like the kind of graphic style. Interestingly, at the end, I'll show you the finished piece, but I'm also going to show you it in black and white, so you can see what I mean about the contrast in the piece. It's actually a really interesting look, so make sure you check that out as well. But yeah, as I said at the beginning, I'm really going to have to evaluate whether I continue with ScrawlrBox. Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, I really hope you've enjoyed today's video, and until next time, goodbye.